Before you trust the smiles around you, answer one uncomfortable question. What if some of the people applauding you in public are secretly hoping you fail in private? What if the compliments aren't admiration, but surveillance? What if the support isn't loyalty, but curiosity about how far you'll fall? Most people believe hatred comes from enemies. They're wrong. The most dangerous hatred comes from people who claim to like you, people who laugh with you, people who celebrate your victories, people who tell you they're proud of you. Because human beings rarely hate those beneath them. They hate those who remind them of what they could have been. And whether you realize it or not, someone is watching your life through that lens right now. If you want to understand why people secretly hate you, subscribe, like this video, and stay until the end. Because the final truth is the one most people never discover until it's too late. And once you see it, you'll never look at people the same way again. The first reason people secretly hate you is simple. Your existence creates comparison. Most people don't wake up and consciously decide to hate someone. Hatred begins as discomfort, a small irritation, a quiet emotional sting. They see you improving, making progress, getting attention, building confidence, and suddenly they are forced to confront themselves. Not you, themselves. Your success becomes a mirror. And mirrors are dangerous, because mirrors reveal truths people spend years trying to avoid. The friend who criticizes your ambition isn't upset about your ambition. They're upset because it exposes their excuses. The coworker who minimizes your achievements isn't questioning your success. They're protecting their ego. Your growth silently accuses their stagnation, and people will often attack the messenger before confronting the message. That's why some people become colder the moment your life starts improving. Not because you've changed, because you've become evidence. Evidence that more was possible, and that realization burns. But that isn't the darkest part. The second reason is even more disturbing. People secretly hate what they cannot control. Think about it. The moment you stop seeking approval, some people become uncomfortable. The moment you stop explaining yourself, they become suspicious. The moment you stop chasing validation, they become irritated. Why? Because your independence removes their influence. Many relationships survive not because of love, but because of leverage. Emotional leverage, psychological leverage, social leverage. The ability to make you react. The ability to make you seek acceptance. The ability to make you fear rejection. The moment that leverage disappears, the relationship changes, and suddenly people begin calling you arrogant, difficult, cold, detached. Not because you became those things, but because they lost access to your emotional controls. People often mistake dependence for connection. When dependence disappears, their resentment emerges. And that resentment can become hatred. Quiet, hidden. Patient hatred, the kind that smiles while waiting for your mistakes. Now here's where human nature becomes truly dangerous. People don't only hate your strengths, they hate the attention your strengths attract. Attention is one of the most valuable currencies on earth, more valuable than money in many situations, because attention creates influence. Status, opportunity, power, and human beings compete for it constantly, even when they pretend they don't. The moment people notice others paying attention to you, something shifts. You become competition, not necessarily for jobs, not necessarily for relationships, but for significance. And significance is addictive. That's why someone can be happy for you one day, then strangely distant the next. Nothing changed except perception. The social spotlight moved, and when attention moves, so do loyalties. People love confidence until it attracts admiration. Then confidence becomes threatening. People love talent until it receives recognition. Then talent becomes annoying. People love authenticity until it gains influence. Then authenticity becomes dangerous. The game changes the moment others start noticing you. But there's another truth nobody talks about. People secretly hate those who expose fake identities. without saying a word. Imagine someone who constantly claims to be strong. Then they meet someone genuinely strong. No performance, no announcement, no need for validation. Suddenly, the illusion collapses. This is why genuinely disciplined people make lazy people uncomfortable. Why emotionally controlled people make reactive people nervous. Why self-respecting people make insecure people defensive. Real power exposes counterfeit power, and counterfeit power hates exposure. Not openly, secretly, silently, patiently. Remember this: the loudest critics are often protecting the weakest identities. The next reason may be the hardest to accept. People hate the freedom they see in you, especially when they feel trapped. A person who hates their job sees you pursuing your passion. A person trapped in a miserable relationship sees you walking away from toxic situations. A person afraid of judgment sees you speaking your mind, and instead of feeling inspired, they feel threatened, because freedom carries responsibility. If you can do it, then maybe they could too, and that's terrifying, because it destroys the comforting illusion that circumstances are the only problem. Suddenly, choices enter the conversation, and many people would rather hate your freedom than question their own decisions. This is one of the cruelest realities of human nature. Your courage can become someone else's resentment. Your confidence can become someone else's insecurity. Your independence can become someone else's anger, without intending any harm at all. But we're only scratching the surface, because the deepest hatred often appears when you stop being useful. This is where masks begin to fall. Many people love you for what you provide, not who you are. Your attention, your support, your loyalty, your resources, your emotional energy, your availability. As long as the supply continues, everything feels fine. Then one day you establish boundaries. You stop overextending yourself. You stop saying yes to everything. You stop sacrificing your peace to keep others comfortable. And suddenly, people reveal who they really are. The respect disappears. The kindness disappears. The loyalty disappears. Because it was never loyalty. It was access. And once access is restricted, entitlement becomes resentment. Resentment becomes hostility. Hostility becomes secret hatred. People rarely hate losing you. They hate losing what you gave them. That realization alone can change your entire understanding of relationships. But now, we arrive at something even darker. People hate unpredictability. Especially when they can no longer read you. Human beings are obsessed with certainty. They want to know where they stand. They want to know how you'll react. They want to know which buttons still work. But when you become emotionally disciplined, you become difficult to manipulate, and difficult people are dangerous, not because they're aggressive, because they're unreadable. Silence becomes threatening, calm becomes threatening, patience becomes threatening, emotional control becomes threatening. Why? Because manipulation requires predictability. The moment you stop reacting the way people expect, you disrupt their strategy, and people often resent what they cannot influence. That's why silence has always been associated with power. Not because silence speaks, because silence forces others to reveal themselves, and many people hate being seen more than they hate being judged. Yet none of these reasons compare to the final truth, the one most people spend their entire lives misunderstanding. People secretly hate you because your existence reminds them of mortality, not physical mortality, psychological mortality, the death of possibilities, the death of alternate futures. Every time someone sees you achieving something they abandoned, a ghost appears, the ghost of who they could have become. Every time they see you becoming stronger, the ghost grows louder. Every time you rise, that ghost asks a question. What happened to me? And that question is unbearable, because it cannot be answered by blaming you. It requires self-confrontation, responsibility, honesty. Most people would rather protect their self-image than face that pain, so they do something easier. They resent the person who awakened it, you. Not because you harmed them, not because you attacked them, not because you betrayed them, but because you reminded them of wasted potential. of missed opportunities, of abandoned ambitions, of unlived lives, and few things create deeper hatred than regret. This is why the higher you climb, the lonelier it often becomes, not because success changes you, because success changes how people see themselves around you. The uncomfortable truth is that being respected does not guarantee being liked. Being admired does not guarantee being loved. Being successful does not guarantee support. In many cases, it guarantees the opposite. The stronger you become, the more hidden emotions you activate inside others. Envy, comparison, insecurity, fear, regret, resentment. The emotions nobody admits. The emotions that operate in darkness. The emotions that smile during the day and whisper at night. So what should you do? Become smaller? Hide your strengths? Reduce your ambition? Suppress your potential to make others comfortable? Never. Because hatred is often the tax paid by those who refuse to remain ordinary. The goal is not to eliminate resentment. The goal is to understand it. Observe it, expect it, and never let it control your decisions. Because the moment you start living for universal approval, you surrender your freedom. And the moment you surrender your freedom, you surrender your power. Remember this. Not everyone who smiles at you respects you. Not everyone who supports you believes in you. Not everyone who praises you wants you to win. Some people simply want a front row seat to your collapse. But their hidden feelings change nothing. Your path remains yours. Your growth remains yours. Your future remains yours. And the people who secretly hate you are often revealing far more about themselves than they are about you. The greatest power is not making everyone like you. The greatest power is remaining unaffected when they don't. Because in the end, the people obsessed with your life are rarely building their own. And those building something meaningful rarely have time to hate. Think about that carefully. Because once you understand why people secretly hate you, you stop fearing their judgment. And once you stop fearing their judgment, you become far more difficult to control. A dangerous person is not the loudest person in the room. A dangerous person is the one who understands human nature and refuses to be ruled by it. And with that said, thanks for watching, and until next time,